Okay, guys, we are working with verbs today. We are going to go over the basics of verbs. So we're just going to be talking about the different kinds and the difference between verbs and verb phrases. And we're going to have a little flip book just in case you wanted to come back to this page, but there will be other notes on other pages that go in more depth into verbs. So before you move on, make sure your table of contents is filled out and make sure both of the pages are filled out and ready to go for verbs. And I will see you right back here in just a few minutes. Welcome back to notes. Okay, so make sure you have today's date up here. And I want it to say verbs on both pages. Okay, so you do need some foldables here. Okay, so you need, these all say verbs on the back. Remember, mine could be a completely different color, but there are these, it actually might be bigger than this. I did make some adjustments to it, but it's basically like a little book flip thing, okay? So there's 4 pieces to that. You also need the foldable that looks like this, okay? So the only thing that you should have left to cut is just these lines, okay? Now, I want you to make sure you leave plenty of space up at the top. We're going to put a couple of definitions. So just kind of pay attention to where I'm taping things in, okay? So here goes the cutting and taping. Okay, so are you ready to get on with verbs? Okay, so a verb. What is a verb? Okay, so this is a word. Okay, so the basic definition of a verb is a word that expresses an action or state of being. The action ones are not the difficult ones. It's the state of being. It just sounds weird when we start talking about them. The other thing I want you guys to understand is that sometimes we have these things called verb phrases. Okay, so I want you to understand what a verb phrase is. So a verb phrase Okay, so a verb phrase includes a main verb and then it has one or more helping verbs with it. Okay, and we'll kind of go over that when we get down to these. Okay, so here are our kinds of verbs. Okay, so action verb. Now I'm going to tell you something. I'm not sure what I was thinking. So I'm hoping that for this here, these are bigger because I'm not 100% sure what I was thinking when I made it this small. So I'm going to tell you my notes might go past where this is, okay? So an action verb. This is a word. Okay, so a word showing physical or mental actions. So an example would be Okay, Grady hits a baseball. Okay, right here, hits is what he's doing. It's what he's physically doing. So this is our verb. Okay, you could do, it can also show mental. So Melanie is thinking about her problem. Okay, thinking is a mental action. Okay, so that thinking is a verb. Okay, so the next one, linking verbs are the most difficult of the verbs. Okay, so these are the ones that you miss. Okay, so whew. Okay, that one's a long definition. So a linking verb is a verb that links the subject to another word or phrase that describes the subject or renames it. Okay, so an example is Mrs. Thompson is a teacher. Okay, the verb here is. Okay, it's describing me. It's describing me as a teacher. Okay, but this is, when we go back up to that definition, that state of being, like the state of being means you are something. So I am a teacher. Mrs. Thompson is a teacher. So this is our state of being. It just is how it is. Okay, that's why it's tricky. So you're going to have like Mrs. Thompson, I don't even know, became a runner in high school. Became is a verb. Okay, it's describing who I was. Okay, the last one is your helping verbs. They're also sometimes called auxiliary verbs. I couldn't tell you, I've never heard a teacher call them that, but just to be on the safe side. So they're usually called helping verbs. There's 23 of them. Okay, so a helping verb Okay, so this is going to be a word in a verb phrase that helps the main verb. It normally will change the tense. Okay. Okay, so you could have, so for example, ooh, I hate it. I got this taped down here from this little book. I hate that. So Jaden is working on the scrapbook. My guess is this is not a true statement. Okay, so make sure I use the same color. Okay, so is our helping verb, and working is our verb. Okay, so it works with the verb to make this a simple or present or perfect or progressive. We'll learn all about the tenses. So you'll use helping verbs to help you change the tense of verbs. but it works together. So if I asked you for the verb in the sentence, you'd have to say is working. Okay. Now here's my warning. Okay. Helping verbs can sometimes get separated. Okay. So I'm going to go down here. I'm going to go down right here. Okay. We'll do Jaden is not working on, oh my gosh, spell the word right, scrapbook. Okay, so Jaden is not working on the scrapbook. Okay, we still have our helping verb here. This is still our helping verb, and this is still our main verb. Okay? What I need you guys to understand is that not right here, this is an adverb. Okay? So if I were to ask you for the verb here, it is still is working. Not is not part of the verb. Okay? So it's an adverb, so leave it out. Okay? Now, this down here is really just when you guys are when you're looking up something for verbs, you're going to go to the page that says verbs. So it's just kind of like a little thing for you guys to refer to. So it gives you all of your tenses. So Jaden is working on the scrapbook is progressive. It's ongoing. Okay? Perfect is completed. Was working on the scrapbook. Okay, so then it has voice, which is active and passive, which we'll eventually go over. And then there's also moods. Now, moods is an 8th grade standard, not a 7th grade standard. So 7th graders, we will not be taking notes on this year, but 8th grade we will. So that's all I have for verbs. So you're going to go down underneath this video and you guys are going to take this little quiz talking about the different kinds of verbs. It's really going to be just talking about action, linking, and helping, but you also need to know, what a verb and a verb phrase is. So I'm not going to be talking about the little booklet at the bottom on your quiz, okay? Sound good? Then tomorrow I will be checking your notes and we'll be working with verbs. And I will see you then.